You are looking live at Taipei Stadium as the city of Taipei prepares to welcome the world to the 29th Summer Universiade. Over the next 12 days, more than 7,600 athletes will compete with those from 142 countries around the world to represent the best of student sport. But for the next 3 hours, the focus is here on the opening ceremonies. Good evening from Taipei. My name is Doug McLean, and it's my sincere pleasure to host this evening's coverage of the opening ceremony of the 2017 World University Games. It has been 766 days since the closing ceremony of Guangzhou's Universiade, and now we have arrived in Taipei for the 29th edition of the Summer Universiade. First up will be the flag raising for Chinese Taipei. And there you see Qi Cheng as you hear, she was called the Gazelle of the Orient, a 1968 bronze medalist at the Mexico Olympics in the hurdles. We get introductions to the rest of the flag bearers as the flag makes its way to this center stage. Taipei Stadium seats 21,272 people, and it is completely full here this evening for these opening ceremonies. 7 o'clock here in Taipei. We welcome you in no matter where you're watching around the world. There again, Qi Cheng receiving a rousing applause. Music in behind this performed by the Taipei Symphony Orchestra with conductor Gilbert Varga. There you have the remaining flag bearers, the last three being gold medalists at Universiades over the last 12 years. Now the flag bearers will hand it off to the flag raisers, who you'll be introduced to momentarily. You get a beautiful look outside here at Taipei Stadium. It was a very nice day, warm as it's been. About 35 degrees today, a little bit of cloud. Expected to remain about the same over the course of these games. And we'll now see the athlete parade as they will make their way here into Taipei Stadium. But first, you get a pretty good look there at the mascot of these games. That is Bravo. He is a Formosan black bear. You can see he's already got a gold medal. And to represent victory. And we started off with Afghanistan making their way here into Taipei Stadium. 10 athletes on their team. As mentioned, 142 countries taking part here at these games. Next up, Albania. Three athletes. There are the Algerians, 12 all-time medals in their Universiade history, looking to add to that total here in Taipei. Now Argentina, one of the larger delegations, 168 athletes. This is their largest ever delegation. 16 disciplines in which they will compete. Their basketball team gets going tomorrow with a tough test against the United States. Argentina with the early lead on best headwear, as they have those very unique hats they're sporting. Competition is actually already underway here in Taipei. Things got going yesterday with water polo, soccer, and today with gymnastics, artistic gymnastics, the men's qualification. Not uncommon, obviously, for events to get going before the opening ceremonies, especially some of the team sports, as it can be difficult to get the full range of competition in over the course of 12 days. And the one unique thing about Universiade is that on the team sports side, all teams will play a full number of games. So they will, no matter what your ranking is, you will continue to play on until you are seeded. So as an example, you lose in a quarterfinal, you still get to go back and play. So it's the only time that you wouldn't, of course, is if you happen to lose the gold medal game. Then you're done, unfortunately. But that's one nice thing about the team sport side of things here with the World University Games. Armenia next in. 27 all-time medals in their history. Almost equally matched by the number of athletes they have here this year, 25. As mentioned off the top, 766 days since the Gwangju Korea Universiade ended, and now we are back, ready to get things going here today in Taiwan. Get a good look there at the large Argentinian delegation. Their women's football team played yesterday against the host Chinese Taipei and fell 3-0 in their opening match. The Argentinians have slowed down a little bit, so the Volunteers out urging them to get rolling a bit. Australia had to hold up before they could make their way in, and now you get the Australians walking into the stadium. 192 athletes for them. So again, one of the larger delegations. Of course, Australia gearing up to host the Commonwealth Games next year in Gold Coast. So you can certainly bet that a good number of these athletes will be competing at those in a year's time. And now Austria makes its way in. 40 competitors, part of their delegation. And uniquely here at these games, oftentimes the athletes, when they make their way in, will end up in the stands. As there you see Azerbaijan make their way out. Won 3 medals back at Guangzhou in 2015. 2 of them were gold, so a pretty good percentage for them. But as mentioned, for the athletes, they'll actually be seated on essentially on the field where the track will be once athletics competition gets going here. So a bit of a unique setup. One of the smaller stadiums we've seen for an opening ceremony. It's not really small, but a little bit smaller than some of the recent ones. There's the Bahamas. Now Belarus. Had a strong games in Korea with 12 total medals. 20 athletes for them this year. And now Belgium. "38 athletes. It has long been the home of FISU. FISU, the International University Sports Federation, the governing body for university sport. Its office now split for the time being between Belgium and Switzerland. Now Benin. One athlete, part of their team here. Bermuda, 3 athletes, just 1 marching, their flag bearer here tonight. Bhutan next in. And they'll have 8 athletes competing, matching their total from Guangzhou. Speaking about Guangzhou, South Korea led those games in gold medals with 47 as Bolivia enters the stadium. Russia, who will have the largest delegation here, led the overall medal table in Korea with 122, and Korea was a little behind them with 108 total medals. Japan third with 85. Bosnia and Herzegovina, 1 bronze medal in its history as an independent country competing at the World University Games. Botswana, 26 athletes this year. Often very strong in athletics. now Brazil. They've appeared in every Universiade since 1965, even brought their own mascot. "183 athletes. Of course, it's a year ago now that the Rio de Janeiro Olympic Games were taking place. There will be some athletes who competed at those games that are right here in Taipei competing as well. For Taipei to win the right to host these games, they won that right back on November 29th, 2011. And the one city they did beat out was Brasilia in Brazil. There you see the Student Sport Federation of Brazil. Another great shot there outside the stadium looking in. You can see the great sights that we have being in the stadium here. With all the colors and lights and sounds as Bulgaria enters. They have twice hosted the Summer Universiade, both times in Sofia in 1977 and then back in 1961. 1961 being the second ever Summer Universiade. There had been previous iterations dating back into the late 1920s and early 1930s, but the official Universiade count began in 1959. Burkina Faso entering with their 8 athletes. A bit of a delay here in behind the Burkina Faso delegation. Not sure what's causing it. And there again, you got a good look at that mascot who's going to be exhausted by the time it makes its way around this track. Of course, this is just beginning here with the opening ceremony, the athlete parade. And we know the rest of the evening promises to be one of great entertainment, beautiful lights and colors, and certainly not just showing and bringing to light the athletes, who of course will shine over the course of the next 12 days, but also bringing to light the history, traditions, and culture of Taiwan. And of course, the torch relay will wrap things up at the end of the evening. Still waiting for our next country. That would be Burundi. Talked a little bit earlier about the temperature here today, about 36 degrees, and it's been that way since I arrived, and looking ahead will be about the same. Some rain expected over the course of the next few days. There we have Burundi making their way out. But we expect over the course of the next few days a little bit of rain, but warm temperatures for sure. For Burundi, 2 athletes, one parading as the flag bearer. See there, the fans certainly right into things. Of course, they'll have to wait, as tradition dictates, they will wait for Chinese Taipei to make their way out as the final delegation. And now Cameroon. Again, one athlete. Leaving fairly good size spaces between these athletes at this point. Maybe just waiting for the initial delegations to get themselves seated and settled down. And now Canada makes its way in. And again, we're not sure what has caused some of the challenges here right now, because I think what we're seeing is just the flag bearers. Not sure where the actual athletes are. Part of the reason I know that is that Alicia Perrin, who was meant to be the flag bearer for Canada, is certainly not the flag bearer as we see there. So we'll keep moving through the delegations. There you see Chile. 74 athletes here this year. And now the People's Republic of China, who followed there by Colombia, who will have 55 athletes here at Universiade. And now the Democratic Republic of the Congo, 17 athletes. Costa Rica, now followed by Cote d'Ivoire. And Croatia now makes its flag makes its way in. 20 all-time medals as an independent country. Followed by Cuba. Curacao, 2 medals. And Cyprus in now. Marius Georgius, we saw him compete today in the men's artistic gymnastics all-around qualification. And through the early stages, he was second. Czech Republic, 130 athletes. And now the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. They will have 42 athletes. Denmark, 48 athletes. Now the Dominican Republic had 10 athletes in Korea. They have 20 expected to compete here in Taipei. Ecuador, 1 athlete. Equatorial Guinea makes its way, 2 athletes. I'm just trying to get some confirmation as to what may have caused the athletes to not be part of the parade. And we're hearing word of some protesters, not sure of details to that, but and what might be happening outside the stadium, but that is apparently what has caused some of the challenges. Again, some of the initial teams and delegations were able to make their way in, and then we had a large pause followed by what we're seeing now, which is simply flag bearers and not those from the countries. So first off, we hope everything outside the stadium is okay and that everybody is okay. That's the number one concern. And then number two is, I'm sure for some of the athletes, this is a moment that they've been waiting for forever. So a real shame if they won't have the opportunity to participate in the athlete parade, but we'll continue as it is right now. And if we get more information, we'll pass it along. So you watching wherever you are around the world will know what's going on. France enters the stadium now. 222 athletes, one of the largest delegations here. Of course, Paris recently awarded the 2024 Summer Olympics, which will be confirmed later this year, but the decision has been made by the International Olympic Committee. Germany, 137 athletes. And now Ghana. Ghana brings here to Taipei 22 athletes. And now Greece. For those followers of the Olympics, Greece, of course, always goes first, unless, of course, they host, as they did in 2004, where Greece went last, if I remember correctly, as the host nation. But, of course, we're at the Universiade, so Greece will go in alphabetical order. Guatemala, 2 athletes. Guyana will have 1 athlete here. Here's the flag of Haiti. Six competitors. And now Honduras, and you see the Argentinian delegation there as they made their way to their seats. One of, again, maybe about a dozen delegations that were able to fully get into the stadium for what we understand to be some protests that disrupted the rest of the athletes making their way as delegations, full delegations into the stadium. So if you're just tuning in and seeing just the flags go by, that would be the reason. There's Hong Kong, China. 84 athletes. Hungary, always strong in water polo, and have over recent years had some strong success in swimming as well. Laszlo Che, who competed here at the Summer University Games back in 2013 in Kazan, went on to have some very good Olympic success in Rio. There is India. 4 gold medals all time in its 15 total medals they've won at Universiade. Followed up by Indonesia. Now the Islamic Republic of Iran. They had a very strong performance in Gwangju, 15 medals, including 9 in Taekwondo. Followed up by Iraq. Ireland brings to Taipei 64 athletes and 27 officials. I'm just looking below me from our broadcast location where much of the FISU delegation is seated, and you can see they are in conversations right now, I'm sure just like us, trying to get a bit of a better understanding as to what may be going on outside. It sounds like what they're trying to arrange is to get the athletes, even though they may not be able to parade, but get the athletes into the stadium and into their seats. There is Italy. Italy will play host to the 2019 Summer Universiade in Naples. They've hosted 4 times previously, including the first ever in Turin in 1959. Turin has hosted both the Summer and Winter Universiade. Jamaica, 13 athletes. They had 1 gold, 3 silver, 1 bronze in Gwangju. Of course, the most famous of Jamaican athletes, Usain Bolt, completing his career in London at the recent World Championships. Japan, they are a 3-time Summer Universiade host, most recently back in 1995 in Fukuoka. And Jordan will seek its first ever Universiade medal here in Taipei. There's Kazakhstan, hosted a very successful Winter Universiade back in late January and early February in Almaty. there's Kenya. Kenya, another very strong athletics nation. And there is the Republic of Korea. We've talked about Gwangju quite a few times already. Koreans leading the way with 47 gold medals at those games 2 summers ago, looking to have a similar performance here in Taipei. And there is Kosovo making its first appearance at Universiade. Kyrgyzstan, 7 athletes have come with them here. And there is Latvia. 74 athletes. Talked a little bit about Taipei. 272 square kilometers make up this city. 2.63 million people live in the city, and then about 7 million in the metropolitan area. It is the capital of Taiwan. And if you're tuning in to coverage over the course of these 12 days as Lebanon enters the stadium, you'll certainly learn about the many things happening in this very busy, energetic city, from the night markets to Taipei 101 to the various sites and museums. It won't just be the athletes you'll get to learn about, but certainly a lot about Taiwanese culture and the city of Taipei specifically. There is Lesotho, 2 athletes to compete here in Taiwan. Now Liechtenstein. 3 competitors for them here this year. Lithuania. 5 gold, 1 silver, 3 bronze in Gwangju. 5 of those medals were won in rowing, and rowing is actually not a sport here. It was an optional sport chosen by the Gwangju organizers, but it will not be here in Taipei. There's Luxembourg. 13 competitors, a little more than what they had in Gwangju, where they brought 10. And there's Macau, China. There's the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. For those of you unfamiliar with Taiwan as a whole, eastern 2/3, mostly rugged mountains from the northern to southern tips, but as you head west, you see more flat to gently rolling, flat to the gently rolling Jianan Plains, and that is where most of the population lies on the western side. Taipei here, we're not quite at the tip, but very near it. There's Madagascar. And now Malaysia. Malaysia's been in every Universiade since 1991. Fell 2-0 in football action today on the men's side to Japan. So again, most of the population in Taiwan, in the Jianan Plains to the west. And the highest point is Yushan, or Jade Mountain, at 3,952 meters, making it the world's 4th highest island. As Mali, its flag enters the stadium. Now Malta. And again, if you're just joining us, the athletes will be joining in here and taking their seats. Some challenges earlier. So we are seeing the flags of each country go by. Now Mexico. The host back in 1979. And they've also hosted 3 World University Championships since 1992. So the International University Sports Federation, or FISU, hosts both winter and summer World University Games every 2 years, and then in the other years host a plethora of World University Championships. They're the Federated States of Micronesia, one competitor here. And so those World Championships held in the off years from Universiade, and will be in a range of sports. So Mexico, as mentioned, has hosted 3 of those. Republic of Moldova, 21 athletes. Mongolia, 50 athletes, a little bit down from where they were in Guangzhou. There's Montenegro. Mozambique, 15 athletes here this year. They joined FISU back in 1997. Next up, Namibia with 7 competitors. Talked a little bit earlier that rowing would not be part of the program here at Universiade in Taipei, so a couple things have changed. There is Nepal, 26 competitors. So sports being added to the program here this year. Roller sports making its debut at Universiade. Wushu also making its debut here at the Summer Games. And weightlifting, its 3rd appearance. It was previously at Shenzhen in 2011 and Kazan in 2013, but then was not there in Guangzhou. It returns. Billiards, 9-ball will also be a demonstration sport here, but will not be part of the medal tabulation. There, the Netherlands followed there now by New Zealand. New Zealand with 63 competitors, won 5 medals in Korea back in 2015. Auckland just recently hosted a very successful World Masters Games. There is Nicaragua. 3 competitors. So along with rowing, handball and shooting will also not be part of the program here as they were in 2015. Niger is their flag with 5 athletes expected to compete. Nigeria next up. They were first a member of FISU back in 1961 and then re-affiliated in 1969 and have been a member ever since. 52 athletes for the African nation. Now the Northern Mariana Islands. And Norway. 44 athletes for the Norwegians. Of course, a very strong winter sport nation. They are followed by Oman with an equal number to Norway of 44 athletes. There's Pakistan. Member since 1985, bringing 23 athletes with them this time around. And there's Palestine. We'll have a delegation, an athlete delegation, I should say, of 2, of course. Officials will be on top of that. There is Paraguay. Eight athletes for the South American country, followed by another South American country, Peru. They bring 12 athletes here to Taipei. Philippines have 4 all-time medals at Universiade, and their only gold came in chess, which was a sport back in Kazan in Russia in 2013. Poland has a large delegation here, 152 athletes. The Philippines as well with 115. Now Portugal brings 78 athletes to Taipei. And Romania next up. Bucharest hosted Universiade back in 1981. And at those games, the great Nadia Comaneci competed there, winning 5 gold medals. An unbelievable feat, and that was 5 years after she first burst onto the scene with her perfect 10 at the Montreal Olympics, where she won 3 gold, 1 silver, and 1 bronze. And Russia, the largest delegation, 348 athletes here competing. As I've talked about, they led the medal table in 2015 with 122. And they have hosted twice in 1973 in Moscow and then in 2013 in Kazan. Rwanda right after them, 3 athletes, and then San Marino you see there. They will have 1. Saudi Arabia, 27 competitors. There's Senegal, a long-time FISU member dating back to 1967. And there is Serbia, 72 athletes. Belgrade was the host of these very games back in 2009. There is Sierra Leone, of course. Our thoughts go out to people in that country with the images of the mudslides and the challenges that have taken place there. There is Singapore, 55 athletes here this year. And there is Slovakia. They've been a previous winter host back in 1999 in Poprad Tatry and in Strbsky Pleso. When they split hosting duties in 2015 with Granada, Spain, Strbsky Pleso also hosted in 1987 when it was still part of Czechoslovakia. And there is Slovenia, 62 athletes, along with 31 team officials. They'll be in 13 sports, and that's a new record for them since their first Universiade back in 1985. There is South Africa. 94 athletes here, and they've been a previous host to 2 World University Championships in golf back in 1998 and 2008. And there is Spain, hosted the Summer Games in 1999 in Palma de Mallorca. And of course, our thoughts with them too over the course of the last 2 days with the attacks on Las Ramblas and outside of Barcelona. It's Sri Lanka make their way in, 69 athletes, and Suriname with 2, now followed by Swaziland. They will have 5. And now Sweden, a FISU member since back in 1961, though they have not hosted Universiade. They have hosted numerous World University Championships. Stockholm was host to the Summer Olympics back in 1912. And there is Switzerland, 102 athletes as part of their delegation. There's the Syrian Arab Republic. They will have 6 athletes here in Taipei. And they're followed by Tajikistan with 24. And they will be seeking their first ever gold medal. They have 4 total medals in their time participating at Universiade. And there's the United Republic of Tanzania. 3 athletes for them. Now Thailand, Bangkok played host to the Summer Universiade in 2007. Their first games were those of Kobe in Japan back in 1985. In those games that they hosted in 2007, they won 13 gold and 29 medals overall for their best ever performance. Trinidad and Tobago, they are a more recent FISU member, joining in 2013. Here is Turkey. 16 medals in 2015. They have hosted a Winter Games in Erzurum back in 2011, and then a Summer Games in Izmir 12 years ago in 2005. Turkmenistan, they will bring 5 competitors here. There's Uganda, 55 competitors, 7 all-time medals, including 4 gold. Next up is Ukraine. 149 athletes, so one of the largest delegations that will be here in Taipei. United Arab Emirates, 1 athlete here this time around at Universiade. And now the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Sheffield hosted the games back in 1991. Of course, London very busy over the last couple weeks hosting the World Championships in athletics. Had phenomenal crowds at the events, even for the morning sessions. Now the United States, a one-time host back in 1993 in Buffalo. North America has only hosted these games 3 times, once in Mexico City, once in Buffalo, just as mentioned there, in 1993, and then in Canada, in Edmonton, back in 1983. Here's Uruguay, 31 athletes. Should mention for the United States, 405 athletes expected here. Uzbekistan, 1 gold medal back in 2015. They have 46 competitors. And now the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, 1 athlete. And there's Vietnam, 18 athletes expected to compete for the country here. The Virgin Islands next up. There's Yemen. Expected to have 1 competitor here at these games. Zambia, 21 athletes expected to be here. Now Zimbabwe will be the final flag making its way into the stadium before Chinese Taipei. And again, if you're just tuning in, the first 12, maybe 14 delegations fully made their way into the stadium. Then, as we understand, some challenges outside the stadium did not permit the other athletes to make their way in. We understand everyone's fine. And this is a nice scene here. Oh, here's what we're gonna do. This is great. This is fantastic. As you see all of the volunteers with the signs of each country, and they're going to be followed what I can only imagine to be all of the countries themselves. So this is fantastic. They've been able to make this work. Again, we're sort of getting some help from some of my friends back at the IBC giving me some information as to what was going on. Just understood that the athletes were just, again, some challenges, unable to get into the stadium. But now they're here and they're going to make their way out. So this is wonderful, because it's certainly one thing for the fans and spectators watching, but it's obviously for the athletes a great thrill for them to be able to make their way into the stadium. And there you see the first country that was essentially cut off being able to make it in is Canada. And so the Canadians, among the other athletes and volunteers, getting a huge standing ovation from everybody here. This is fantastic. And we'll get to see all of the athletes make their way around. So it's great to see a challenging situation turn into a great one, and one of the most unique that I've ever had the chance to see. And again, most importantly, the fact that the athletes themselves will get to parade around. There you see the Chilean athletes. So we'd seen all the flags come through, and the next flag would have been Chinese Taipei. So we'll have to wait a little bit for them. But again, the outstanding support here from all the fans as they welcome all of the athletes in. So they'll be more than content to wait a little bit longer to see their athletes enter the stadium. There's a great view from outside the stadium and the colors of the stadium itself. And there are the Chileans in red. Still a handful of Canadians there lingering just in front of Chile. There you get a shot of the Canadians. And now a look at the Czech Republic entering here. And again, maybe one of the best ovations I've ever heard at the Universiades that I've been to. Because there was certainly a question, I think, within the stadium as to what was going on. Saw the athletes come in, suddenly we were just seeing flags. But the fact that the organizers here were able to find a way to overcome some of the challenges and get all of the athletes together is just fantastic. Reminds you a little bit of what you see at a closing ceremony in some ways, where the flags will be brought out and the athletes will parade together. We're not quite seeing that here, but it's not far from that. And certainly athletes are mingling and milling about, getting some pictures. So I guess you never know what you're going to see, both in the field of play and even here, but so glad to see that it's worked out the way that it has here tonight, as these athletes will get the moment that they deserve. And there you again see more of the Canadians as they make their way to the seats. We talked about it earlier. Oh, it was a nice flip. Probably about a 9.8 on that one, I'd say. Although what should I be talking about? I couldn't do that if I dreamed of it. But the athletes will actually be seated on what it will be the track during the athletics competition. So the handful of delegations that did make their way in initially were already seated and waiting, and now the rest of the athletes, as mentioned, coming in, and they will take their seats. There you see the Czech Republic, and now Denmark. And a full credit here as well to the hosts, the in-stadium hosts, who are having to ad-lib a little bit here as things go along. So they're doing a great job keeping everybody in the stadium aware of what's happening and getting everyone excited and pumped up for what is still going to be a great kickoff evening to these games. Flag of Chinese Taipei was raised right when we got going. And the athlete parade followed that. There are the French athletes getting the crowd going as they come in just behind Estonia and Finland. Did mention the fact that Paris has been awarded the 2024 Summer Olympics. That'll be the third time for them hosting the games. There are the Germans making their entrance. It was a very good shot of the enthusiastic crowd here at Taipei Stadium. There, a close-up of Team Germany. There is France. There's the games of 1900, 1924, and now 2024. So it'll be 100 years between hosting the games in Paris. Then Los Angeles also given right to host the 2028 Summer Olympics. So the first time the IOC has looked to award two games or more than one, I guess, at the same point in time. And now the Germans taking their turn at getting the crowd going. And I will apologize with some of the smaller delegations who are likely in the midst of these crowds, it's going to be a little challenging to make sure that we identify them. I'll do my best, but certainly that is not intentional on my part at all. But because it's turned into a much larger mass parade, it's a little difficult. The big delegations are easy because you can see them obviously with their uniforms. The smaller ones a little trickier to find. So I will do my best as we progress here through what has turned into the second portion of the athlete parade. There is the team from Hungary. Ghana had made their way in just shortly after the Germans, as did Greece. Of course, the flags that they would normally follow are already in the stadium, so some delegations scrambling to get another flag that they can hold as they move their way around. There you get a look at the Greek delegation. Followed by Guatemala, Hong Kong, China as well. I also have to think that some athletes and maybe some whole delegations made the decision to not parade in this second portion. Some athletes make that choice anyway, to not parade just if they're competing in the next day or two. The time spent outside, getting organized, standing, waiting, and then doing the parade and then sitting through the ceremony, some feel is just a little bit too much when they're trying to be so finely tuned to compete. So I do wonder if that's taken place here a bit tonight as well, with the delay that we had, if some athletes or perhaps some delegations made the choice to not make their way around the track, but certainly the majority have. There again, a look at the Hungarian delegation. And again, full credit to the crowd as they have continued to maintain that enthusiasm we saw right from when the first country appeared. There is India. One member of the delegation there making sure to get the whole thing captured on his phone. It's always interesting if you go back and watch previous athlete parades, whether it's at a Universiade or at an Olympics, and just how much they've changed over the course of time. One thing you'd notice if you went back even 40 years, you would see many of the delegations parading in perfect unison around the track. That has slowly gone away. You've also seen over the course of the last many years with technology, people bringing out, first it was camcorders, and now of course you just pull out your phone from your pocket and you can record everything. So some big differences in terms of how these parades have been done. And technology has also enabled us to go back and watch some of those. In fact, there are even some clips that date back to the 1912 Stockholm Olympics. You can watch opening ceremonies from there. And I stand to be corrected, but I believe also the 1908 London Olympics. So it's very interesting just to watch the evolution of this portion of the opening ceremony. And there you get a look at the Italian delegation. Of course, in 2 years' time, they will be the last team to enter, as they will play host in Naples. Just in front of Italy is the Israeli delegation, doing a good job getting the crowd going. Ireland made its way out a little bit earlier, as did the Islamic Republic of Iran. Definitely one of the most unique scenes I've ever witnessed at an event. It certainly feels in some ways more like how the athletes paraded the closing, as I talked about earlier. Athletes almost mingling together a little bit, still within their delegations for the most part, but mingling a bit. A lot more photographs being taken. You can see the volunteers doing their best to try to move the athletes along. Of course, you want to make sure they enjoy the moment, but you also want to make sure that you can continue to move the delegations around the track. There is the Kazakh delegation, as they made their way in just behind Japan. You're seeing Japan there with the blue uniforms and the fluorescent green shoes. So they will make their way past the VIP box. There you get a close-up of Team Japan. Japan, the host of the next Summer Olympics in Tokyo in 2020, the second time that Tokyo has hosted those games. First time back in 1964. And there's the Republic of Korea. Close up there of Kazakhstan. We talked about Almaty and the great job they did hosting the Winter Universiade back about 7 months ago now. Certainly a little bit warmer here in Taipei, though the weather was quite nice in Almaty, I should say. There you get a look at Jamaican athletes, Italian, as the Japanese go by. That gives you a bit of a sense of just what's going on here, with athletes kind of not just staying on the track, but milling about, heading to the stage. And like I said, volunteers running around doing what they can to try to at least keep the athletes somewhat contained. I mean, it's a good problem to have, don't get me wrong at all, considering the earlier delays. And understandably, the athletes want to make sure they soak the whole thing in as best they can. But I know the volunteers also have a goal in their mind, is to keep the program moving along. Latvia there you see making their way into Taipei Stadium. And there is Lebanon. They're a very long time member with university sport, dating back even before FISU as we know it existed in 1959, but back to 1949 they've been a member. You hear the hosts encouraging the fans to keep cheering from where I'm standing. They're doing a heck of a job of that still. Fans have been on their feet for about the last half hour. And full credit as well to Ko Wen-jae, the mayor of Taipei City, as well as Oleg Matitsin, the president of FISU. They, two of them, both on their feet waving to all the athletes as they go by. They have the Koreans in the foreground, Latvia right behind them, and Lebanon in behind. And there you see the mayor of Taipei City on the right. And there the president, Oleg Matitsin of FISU. Still to come, the cultural program of tonight, along with the formal opening of the games. There's a look at the VIP box here in Taipei Stadium. Athletes from Malta, followed there by the team from Mexico. Just in front of Mexico is Malaysia. Very colorful uniforms they've got, black, orange, and some yellow. Back to the Mexicans. You got a good shot there of the fans and the enthusiasm that they're bringing to everything here at Taipei Stadium tonight. There's Mongolia. Still Mexico making their way into the stadium. Mexico with a 3-0 victory over Chinese Taipei in men's football action last night. So FISU founded in 1949, talked about Lebanon, one of those early founding members, first World University Games and Universiade formally held in 1959. As I alluded to though, before that, many other iterations of international university sport competition, dating back to a little bit after the First World War. And these games here in Taipei will be the largest sporting competition staged in Chinese Taipei to date. We'll also have the greatest number of participating athletes. There's a shot of the Dutch athletes, their turn to get the crowd going. Well, no matter what was happening outside the stadium, it certainly has not dampened the enthusiasm of the athletes, which is to no one's surprise. And They have been fully engaged here, getting the crowd right into things, and the crowd has been giving that energy right back. On the far left of your screen, you just briefly saw there New Zealand. And there is Team Norway. Good look there at the VIP box, and President Matitsen there on the bottom right. And now another aerial shot of Taipei Stadium. Athletes from Jordan. If you look into that crowd, you see Mongolia there on the left. Just behind them in orange is the team from the Netherlands. There is Nepal. Just in after Nepal, we have, there is Oman. And there is Niger. 5 athletes for them. We saw Nigeria. Good look at the Philippines. Delegation of 115 athletes making their way in. Good look there as well at Poland. Big delegation, 152 athletes for Poland. We saw the Philippines come in, 4 all-time medals for them. A gold medal in chess back in Kazan, their only gold medal in history of competition at Universiade. And the Philippine delegation with some giveaways they're tossing into the crowd. There you get a close-up of Team Philippines. And there's the Polish delegation right in behind them. Football, water polo, and artistic gymnastics on the men's side already underway over the course of the last couple days. The competition will begin in full tomorrow. Swimming, one of the sports on the docket tomorrow. There you get a look at the Romanian delegation. They make their way in just after Portugal. There's some Estonian athletes. Certainly the big smiles on their faces. There you have Saudi Arabia. And now a close-up look at some of the Chilean athletes. And just in behind Saudi Arabia, there you see Russia, always one of the largest delegations. We're going to look at some of the FISU executive. And there's the Russian Federation. 122 medals for them in Gwangju back in 2015. I apologize earlier, I think I had referenced the Nigerian flag when in fact it was Pakistan, so my apologies there. Just in behind Russia is Serbia, host back in 2009 in Belgrade. Well, Serbian team looking to get team picture. And there you see on the right South Africa. And then on the left you have Singapore. And in the middle there with the light blue and light purple uniforms on, I believe to be Slovenia. From my vantage point here, trying to make sure I make out the flag. And there you see the tail end of the team from Russia as they make their way around the track. Athletes are all seated on the track to the opposite side of our broadcast location. There's a close-up of Team South Africa. Right there, the VIP box, observing things here. So on the competition schedule starting tomorrow, archery, baseball, basketball, diving and fencing. There'll be medals in both of those sports. Football will continue. Artistic gymnastics will continue. There will be medals handed out tomorrow there as well. Judo, swimming and taekwondo also starting and with medals. And then volleyball and water polo will continue, and then weightlifting gets going, and there will be medals handed out tomorrow as well. So a full busy day of competition starting tomorrow. There you see Sri Lanka dressed very smartly. Suits and ties for the men. Crowd continues to roar its approval as different delegations make their way out. Fans have been equal stars in this whole show so far tonight. Close up of the Russian Federation team. There you can get a little bit of a look on the bottom there where the athletes are seated. They'll have a good view for the remainder of the program, which will get going shortly after the athletes make their way out. There is Switzerland. If you are just tuning in and joining us, this has been a bit of a different athlete parade tonight, let's just say that. With the first 12 delegations able to make their way out, then some challenges outside didn't permit the remaining athletes to come in, so the flags came in. And once we got to Chinese Taipei, suddenly it was Team Canada, and all of the athletes were there ready to come in. So what looked to be a bit of a down portion of the evening has turned into be a huge positive. And again, the athletes have been just fantastic, engaging with the crowd, and the crowd have been equal measure engaging back. Team Sweden being welcomed in as they get just past the VIP box. There is Team Turkey, host in Izmir back in 2005. And there you get a close-up of the Swedes. And they're Team Canada. a one-time host of Universiade back in the western part of the country in Edmonton in 1983. There you see Ukraine entering the stadium. And there is Uganda. 55 athletes from Uganda this year. Ukraine with 149. Chinese Taipei just moments away here. And they will make their entrance. Good look there, the large delegation from Ukraine. Some of the Italian team members. Italy in many ways really seen as the birthplace for university sport. Turin has played a major part over the years as a host and again as a founding city to where the Universiade or the university sport movement in many ways was carried on in the late 1940s and into the 1950s. Here again, the Ugandan team. And they're the team from the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Sheffield hosted in 1991. Two cities from that country, Liverpool and Birmingham, considering bids for the 2022 Commonwealth Games that were originally scheduled to be in Durban in South Africa. But Durban has had to back out, and so those games are open, and Birmingham and Liverpool both looking seriously at mounting bids to host. Just in front of the United Kingdom is the United Arab Emirates. And more Canadians seemingly to find the camera here tonight. Current time in Taipei, 8:45 in the evening. So again, welcome to all of you watching from wherever you are in the world. My name is Doug McLean. Huge thrill for me to be here tonight bringing these opening ceremonies of the 29th Summer Universiade to you. And there is the United States, 405 athletes. Talked a little bit earlier about the 2028 Summer Olympics having been awarded to the city of Los Angeles. They will also be third-time hosts, joining Paris and London. Los Angeles having hosted in 1932 and 1984, and now again in 2028. And a big cheer as the Americans make their way here into Taipei Stadium. Only a couple nations left to go before we get to Chinese Taipei. The official number of countries now given to me here participating, 144. Uruguay coming in just in behind. There you see them with a large sign. Though I confess that my Chinese is not very good. Can't read that. We've seen quite a few countries coming in with banners just saying thank you and words of appreciation to Taipei and to Taiwan. Just in behind Uruguay, we have Vietnam. And then Yemen in behind them, followed by Zimbabwe. And then a bit of a gap, and you know why that's there. As the hosts, now the only country yet to make their way into the stadium. And you can sense the anticipation here in Taipei Stadium, knowing which delegation is left to come in. A little bit of dramatic pause here. We saw that earlier, the first pause, and weren't sure what was going on. But now this one we do. Zimbabwean athletes, you won't be able to see that from that aerial shot, but dancing up quite a storm. There you get a good look at them as they continue their way just in behind the Vietnamese athletes. The stadium, you can just sense, just ready to burst out. A bit of calm over the crowd. So a little bit of anticipation here as Chinese Taipei about to make their entrance into Taipei Stadium. And here they are. "368 athletes. This is a record for Chinese Taipei at the Summer Universiade. And they come from 49 institutions across Taiwan. "37 medals for them in Guangzhou, including 6 gold. And as thrilling as it is for all of the athletes to make their way into the stadium here tonight, you can only imagine how thrilling it is for the athletes of the host country to get the opportunity to parade in front of their fellow citizens. And the crowd, who have been so great throughout this whole extended parade, have saved their best for Chinese Taipei as they make their way here into Taipei Stadium. There you see some impromptu dance circles going on. Mascots included here as part of the delegation. I have to admit, that's something I haven't seen before. We saw the Brazilian delegation when they came out, had their own mascot, and now Chinese Taipei have outdone them. They have a few, by my count, about 6 that are down there with them right now. You got to look at a few of them. And much of the crowd has been on their feet for a significant portion of this parade. A little more impromptu dance taking place on the track. And with the parade just wrapping up as the Chinese Taipei athletes will take their seats, I should say. We'll now move into the cultural program portion of the evening. A good look at some of the crowd, with many with flags here tonight, flashlights. And you can expect, as we move into the cultural program of the evening, you can expect to get a really broad overview of Taiwan and of Taipei and what makes this place what it is from a people perspective, from a cultural perspective, and from a historical perspective. So if it's a country you're unfamiliar with, you'll certainly have a good sense of what makes it what it is after watching the opening ceremony here this evening. And I can't emphasize enough, full credit to organizers dealing with figuring out a way to get the athletes still into the stadium and making sure they still had the experience that everybody wanted them to have, and they certainly wanted to have themselves. And though it took a bit of a turn, we ended up with that here tonight, and I think that's what makes these events special, and certainly makes it special for the people that are participating. And like I said, the unsung heroes are the organizers, the volunteers, the people behind the scenes trying to find ways to deal with all kinds of challenges. And they certainly had a significant one here tonight, and they certainly overcame it and made this out to be one of the most unique yet most memorable opening ceremonies that I know I've had the chance to witness, either live or on TV. And now the flags of all 144 participating countries, they will make their way past the center stage and up towards the U, as you can see there, directly across from the broadcast location that we are sitting in right now. I should say too, of course, full credit to all the athletes and officials marching in the parade and having to be delayed outside and then still getting to come in. You wouldn't have known. I mean, their enthusiasm walking into the stadium was just as you would have expected it in any normal situation. And there you have a good view of, on the graphic, of all the flags, the participating countries here. And the real versions, the flags right in behind. So that will lead us into Cultural Program 1. Cultural Program 1 will be called Vibrant Island. It will depict a magical island that was born from the collision of two massive tectonic plates. With the passing of time, an ecosystem of fascinating richness and a culture of tremendous diversity came into being. The beauty of the island is expressed through the indigenous people's sonorous singing, as well as their wonderfully imaginative weaving patterns and symbolic totems, which represent the first chapter of Chinese Taipei's participation in the world stage. All the island's ethnic groups come together with their unique traditions of music and theater. People from all walks of life also join in. This heartfelt welcome culminates with a virtual grand feast of Taiwanese-style banquet to celebrate the gathering of people in the rich diversity and abundant joy of the Universiade. This first piece is the birth of the island. The blessing of the Formosa Island accompanies its ever-changing geography, creating the amazingly rich Taiwanese characteristics. This next piece is the Psalm of Life. The robust vitality of indigenous peoples' dances celebrates the changing of 4 seasons and offers thanksgiving to the heaven and earth. Next portion here in Program 1 is Colorful Island, the hospitality of Taiwanese-style banquet with its cultural feast of multi-ethnic diversity, welcomes wholeheartedly these distinguished guests from around the world to seek blessing for the games. The director of this vibrant island portion of the evening, Xie Chie Hua, music design from Koji Sakurai. Performance in behind from the Taipei Symphony Orchestra, again conducted by Gilbert Varga. There you have the formal introductions of both the mayor of Taipei City, Ko Wen-je, and Oleg Matitsen, the president of FISU, as they will make their way out and across this large stage in the center of the stadium to give greetings to the fans and athletes both here in the stadium and those watching in from around the world. Midway across, a quick wave to the spectators seated here. 21,272 of them to be exact. Still a few portions of the evening to go. Two more cultural programs, along with the speeches we'll see here. Oaths of both the athletes and officials. And the lighting of the cauldron, the culmination of the torch relay that has not only been around Taiwan, but into other countries as well before making its way here to Taipei. Good evening. I'm Ko Wen-je, Mayor of Taipei City. On behalf of the people of Taipei, welcome to the Taipei 2017 Summer Universiade. First of all, I would like to thank the International University Sports Federation for giving Taiwan the opportunity to host more than 11,000 of the world's best athletes, trainers, and staff from many countries here in Taipei. Sports allow us to transcend ethnic and geographical distance and enjoy the blessings of peace and friendship. We are grateful to host the Summer Universiade, which provides us with an opportunity to show the world Taipei's confidence, passion, and vitality. The Universiade is the largest international sports event ever to be held in this country. Taiwan is a beautiful island, blessed with a bountiful natural environment and a rich cultural tapestry. As islanders, the people of Taiwan approach the world with an open mindset, advancing courageously towards many challenges. The story of Taiwan is a story of great success. Nowadays, we enjoy democracy and freedom as our way of life. We pursue the realization of progressive values, and we strive to fulfill our responsibilities as international stakeholders by making substantial contributions to human well-being and to world peace. Blending tradition and modernity, science and the humanities, Taipei, our nation's capital, enjoys a very safe and convenient living environment. The city is animated by the boundless energy and creativity of our young people and is maturing into a wonderful international city. Courage is the anthem of youth. Over the next 12 days, I hope these young athletes will surpass themselves and make great strides forward. I say to them, keep working to realize your dreams, never give up. Write an unforgettable chapter of the story of sports and leave with the most beautiful memories of Taipei. The people of Taiwan will embrace you with open arms and cheer you on with open hearts. At the Taipei 2017 Summer Universiade, Taipei embraces the world through sports. Welcome to Taiwan. In closing, I would like to particularly thank all the people across the country who have worked so hard over the past 6 years to prepare for this extraordinary event, as well as the very strong support from central and municipal governments. All our hard work has paid off. We have achieved something great and have brought Taiwan under a global spotlight. So thanks to all those who made today possible, and thanks to all of you for coming. Enjoy the games. Now you see President Oleg Matitsyn of FISU. You'll see the FISU flag come in after Her Excellency Madame Tsai Ing-wen officially opened these 29th Summer University Games.